Hey guys, so I wanted to let you know about my fast. It was my first time, and I've been feeling led to do it for a while. Uh, but then I just was going through a really hard spiritual time, and the subject of fasting came up again in my heart. And the next day, I received a suggested video from Chloe, who's another YouTuber for Christ, and she did a video on fasting. So I took that as confirmation from the Lord that this is something I need to do. And in her video, she talked about the types of fasting and what fasting is all about. And fasting does not go without praying. You have to fast and pray. And basically, in history, people have fasted to achieve some type of spiritual breakthrough. Um, and there's three types. There's no food, no water. The second type is no food, just water. And the third type is vegetables and water, just veggies. I did the second type, which was just fluids, no solid food. And I did it for 3 days. And my husband did it with me for the first day. And it's funny, we both experienced temptation. Somebody mentioned to me some food that I really liked that day. And then he was out shopping, and this never happens, but somebody who does free samples actually chased him down the aisle with an apple, like a caramel apple, and was like, wait, try this. And he's like, I can't, I'm sorry. But isn't that weird, right? Like, the temptation just came out of nowhere, and I watched other testimony videos about fasting and the same thing. So this is obviously something good that the Lord wants us to do. And another thing Chloe mentioned was that it's more of a mental thing than a physical thing. And I didn't understand that until I did it myself, but it's true. Like, when you are trying to stop eating, you have to stop yourself from the regular impulses that you go through every day, like walking through the kitchen and like grabbing something. Surprisingly enough, the first day was the worst, and it got easier as it went along. I didn't experience any headaches or nausea, none of that. And a lot of people probably wonder, like, how can you go that long without food? But it's not a physical challenge, it's a spiritual challenge. And your teammate is the Lord, and He's helping you along. It's really all about faith in Him, and I spent a lot of time in prayer. So, like, every time that I would eat, normally I would pray instead, and I just felt a lot closer to the Lord. And one of my prayers were answered the first day, like immediately, and it was really cool. And I just started to really kind of understand things better. I learned a lot during the fast, but I was surprised to find that I learned the most when I actually got to eat. And my husband made a delicious dinner. It smelled so good, and I was like so ready to eat. When I sat down to eat, I was really excited to taste the food again, and I knew it would taste good, but I was also like kind of worried that I would lose my connection with God. And this is really strange because I've never felt that way before. It was like a bittersweet thing. Um, and the food did taste phenomenal. It was amazing. But I felt kind of guilty eating it. And for two reasons. Number one, I felt guilty for pleasing my flesh. And two, just knowing that other people were out there starving and had no choice, that's heartbreaking. It really helped me see how blessed I am. But even though the food tasted amazing, I noticed that it wasn't as satisfying. And I think it's because while I was fasting, I was seeking out the Lord, and I was seeking spiritual connection to Him and things that really mattered to my soul, you know? And once you get an idea of what that's like, pleasing the flesh doesn't seem as great. Even while you're pleasing it, it's just, well, I gotta eat to stay alive, but this isn't fun anymore, you know? It was definitely less satisfying, and I realized that pleasing the flesh actually isn't what makes me happy, like genuinely happy. And it's funny because I'm an addict. Um, if it's not alcohol, it's prescription drugs. If it's not prescription drugs, it's cigarettes. If it's not cigarettes, it's coffee. You know, I've been through this for a long time. I'm not smoking anymore. I'm done with all that stuff. But I'm still drinking coffee. Let's face it, I'll always be a coffee addict. But pleasing the flesh has lost its luster. And I kind of just sat there and laughed. Not like haha funny laugh, like kind of just mind blown, like at the realization of how pointless and unfulfilling it is to live to please the flesh. And my heart just sank, thinking, you know, gosh, there's so many people out there that live just to please a body that's going to end up rotting in the ground, completely neglecting their soul and the condition of their soul and how God views their soul. And I was that person. So I'm able to see that in others. And while I was eating, I started to build this kind of like resentment towards my flesh. Like it's more of a burden than an actual part of me. And I felt very disconnected and higher than my flesh. Like my body is a separate thing that I don't need, that I don't feel like catering to anymore. So if it were all about the flesh, we get to keep it. But it's not. And what I realized is the spirit longs for things that please God. But the flesh longs for things that displease God. And that's why we have to get rid of it to spend eternity with Him. And this reminded me of that Bible verse. It's Galatians 5:17. It says, "For the flesh desires what is contrary to the spirit, and the spirit what is contrary to the flesh. They are in conflict with each other, so that you are not to do whatever you want." And that scripture has never been more true to me. We really are in conflict, like at war with our flesh, all the time. One of the most important reasons, if not the most important reason, that the Lord wanted me to do this is to show me how much of a slave I was to my own flesh. How much I lived to cater to it. And how unfulfilling it was. If you're an addict, I feel your pain. I've been there. And you're missing out on the good things in life. You're neglecting your soul. You're not looking beyond the substance. But anyway, I definitely encourage everyone to fast, whether you're an addict or not. This is something that has been done throughout the Old Testament and has been mentioned in the New Testament. The reason that they didn't fast while Jesus was there was because He was there. He said, "When I leave, my people will fast." So He prophesied Christians fasting. And it's a shame. It is such a shame that more Christians don't do this. It's like raising awareness for a cause spiritually, you know, instead of just praying, fasting and praying. But anyway, I love you guys, and I hope you have a blessed day in the Lord. And I really hope you try fasting. All right, God bless.